in this COVID environment where the stands are limited, what sport would you want to go see? I mean, that's anything. Tennis, golf, fishing. I don't care. What do you want to go see?
I got to rule out baseball immediately.
It's
and
a
I'll
big
tell you why.
Stadium.
I rule out baseball simply because I've been to a ton of baseball games outside of St. Louis. And for the most part,
like the Marlins?
With that.
Have you seen the Marlins game?
I've seen lots of Marlins.
You've already seen it at COVID level.
I've already seen that. I've experienced it. It's not the best. It's okay. But because I've kind of already experienced what that really looks like, I got to throw that out. I think the one that may be the most interesting in a that kind of arena would be basketball. It's typically a smaller arena anyway. They play in the same NHL ones, but you're very close to the floor. You can be on top of it, and I think that'd be kind of interesting. And because it's a faster, back and forth game, I think that kind of helps a little bit with a smaller crowd. NHL, I think, is too fast paced, and there's not as much, clearly not as much scoring in the NHL as there is in the NBA. So there's a lot of energy fed off of NHL. Not as much in basketball, I don't believe. And I think that's why it'd be the funnest sport to kind of watch in a smaller crowd where, I think the energy doesn't play as much of has as much of an effect on it as NHL or definitely football.
Yeah, as far as major sports go, I think I would want to see basketball for sure. I think a tennis match, if it was a Grand Slam major, cool. I think that would be pretty cool to see because you're just going to hear a lot more as well.
Sure.
You already pick up a lot on the microphones when they're broadcast, but I think that could be neat. And then just on the more obscure level, I think going to see the Masters or a big golfing PGA tournament, where it's a very small crowd, and ideally that you could actually travel around hole to hole because there's so many people there. You're just crammed. I don't have any desire to go see a golfing.
No, it's
a big
nuts,
golf match.
I went to Doral when I was living in Florida. It's not a major, but it is still one of the bigger stops for the PGA in Doral.
Sure.
And I remember going, and it was just herd of cattle, man.
Right.
And you could barely see anything. If you didn't post up on a hole, you weren't traveling. I mean, you had to post up on the hole and just watch the whole thing, or everyone.
You got to camp out in one spot.
And I was okay, but I would have liked to have picked a group of golfers or whatever that I wanted to watch and follow them. And obviously with the early ones you can do that, but when you get into some of the bigger names, so back then, of course, it was. I remember the one day. It was VJ and Tiger were paired together, and they were the final pairing. So, I mean, of course, everyone was traveling with them.
Sure.
But, you have so many great young golfers now. I mean, you can kind of follow along. That would be really unique and very cool in a very, small, intimate kind of group where you could travel hole to hole with, whatever pairing you truly wanted and be able to enjoy it, not have to, see over all these people.
Yep, no doubt. Not to just totally dismiss that. I think you bring out some good points, but let's get on with the next portion of the show and let's do some lightning standings, buddy. How about it? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, we'll just leave it at analog today. But we're going to do some hockey. We haven't talked about the latest NHL standings, so we're going to go to each division. Eric, why don't you take the Central and the East?
Sure.
I'll do the West and the North divisions and see what kind of shakeups. For the most part, I think the last time we did this, there isn't anything that would be glaring as far as who's doing really well, other than maybe some poorer performers.
I see some movement in the West.
Absolutely,
I think
no doubt
is key to talk about.
Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, I mean that might be the big one. I got another big one, of course, in the Central. That's still a little bit surprising. So, let's jump right into it. So, I'm going to start with the Central. Tampa Bay. They are absolutely cruising. 50 points. There are a couple teams with 50 points, all in the Central or the East. So Tampa is the first one that we're going to come across. Florida Panthers also with 50 points. Very surprising. Joe Quenneville has turned this team around very quickly, and for several years they've been kind of that up-and-coming team, and it looks like a couple years ago they broke through, but now, especially with Joe Quenneville behind the bench, I think they have. So Carolina Hurricanes, 49 points. Then we have a big drop-off here. Nashville Predators, 39 points. Blackhawks, 39 points. Blue Jackets, 36 points. Dallas Stars, this is a little surprising. They were in the Stanley Cup last year. Had a really rough start to the season as far as like getting a bunch of games canceled, but it looks like they're still only a couple games behind that. They got a few still to make up. 32 points. Detroit Red Wings, bottom of the basement. Better than last year. At least they're
That's
not the
not
Sabres
saying much
this year, but
it's a low bar.
They have 28 points. Then we move over to the East. Washington Capitals, 50 points. They're the third team with 50. New York Islanders, 48. Pittsburgh Penguins, 48. Boston Bruins, 41. Philadelphia Flyers. This is a surprise here. I think a lot of people expected a lot more out of the Flyers this year.
Yeah.
They recently had a game against the Rangers where they lost like 12-1 or something just absurd. 38 points. New York Rangers right behind, 36 points. Devils, 31. And the league bottom, for sure, 17 points. Buffalo Sabres, rounding out a total of 6 wins. 23 losses and 5 overtime losses.
Yeah, if you recall, on Detroit Red Wings, they were setting a record for the goal differential, I believe.
Yeah, last year.
It was creeping up to triple digits. So just put things in perspective for them. It is a much improved season.
Triple-digit goal differential last year.
Okay, yeah, it's negative 39 for the year right now. So that's not, I mean, it's bad. Let's be real. It's bad, but it's not historically bad. How about that West Division, though? You got Golden Knights out of Vegas sitting at the top with 49 points, and right behind them, 48 points go to the Colorado Avalanche.
Big surge for them.
They're doing quite well. Yeah. Absolutely. 44 points go to the Wild, who have also been playing some pretty good hockey, who hasn't and been slipping in the last few weeks, mostly due to injury to start, but now they kind of have a healthier roster. The Blues, not doing so hot, 38 points. Just kind of middle of the pack there. Coyotes, though, just 1 point behind at 37. 32 points go to the LA Kings, and 32 points also belong to the Sharks. Worst team in the West are the Anaheim Ducks at a lowly 28 points. 40 goal differential as well. So, yeah, not too great. But some good goaltending as of late. I've seen some of their games. Looking at Maple Leafs, at the top of the North Division, and they have 47 points. 46 points belong to the Jets of Winnipeg, and you got the Oilers in third place in that division at 45 points. 39 points to the Canadiens. The Calgary Flames have 35 points. Also 35 points. You got Vancouver Canucks and the Ottawa Senators, 28 points. Eesh. And 41 point goal differential. Yeah, not good. That is our look at the NHL standings. Gosh, we're at April, so we only have a few weeks left. Yeah. I mean, it's a abbreviated season.
It's winding down.
So looking forward to the playoffs right there. So we'll catch you guys up on who's in when that is happening. But let's get into some best games to watch. Of course, it's got to be some baseball. There's lots of rivalries going on for opening day. I know Cards-Reds are happening. Blue Jays and I believe Yankees. Looking at a couple of others as well. Like out in the West, Houston, I believe, is playing Anaheim. Just going off the top of my mind here, but a lot of good...
Houston's playing Oakland. I mean, the one that I'm really interested in watching is Diamondbacks Padres. I want to see what that Padres team looks like. They made a ton of offseason moves.
They're going to be stout.
They were already.
I don't think there's going to be a doubt.
But I just want to see that team in action. I mean, that's an exciting team with Machado and Tatis and just the rest of the group. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm excited to see them.
Yeah, no doubt. How about though the Final Four, like we talked about? You got April 3rd, Gonzaga and UCLA, and also later, I'm not sure which game it comes
I'm not
first,
sure what the
but either way,
but
both are on the same day. Baylor and Houston. Once again, got to tune in for those. Should be some great college hoops happening. And
then on the 5th,
what else is happening?
On the 5th,
for the final.
We'll have the final.
Of course.
Yep.
There we go. Hey, they did a good job with that tournament, by the way. I mean, it didn't seem like it had any hiccups, and mostly because you didn't have a lot of people going to those games, but kudos to the NCAA for pulling that off. I mean,
it's not often that I'm willing to give NCAA kudos, but
because the Supreme Court, I think, even today is ruling on whether or not the college athletes should have at least their starting deliberation. Or there's something going on where they're deciding if they should be reimbursed. Or not reimbursed, but compensated for their play.
likeness.
And the likeness.
100%.
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that they
100%.
have rules and regulation that they can't go out and make money for themselves on their own
That's
name.
the worst part, man.
That's
Like,
the worst
they can't
part.
even have, like,
that's
a
egregious.
job.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, your job is
Your
sports.
job, right. But so then pay me.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
Like,
see how that
we
falls.
are paying you in tuition. and
Yeah,
books.
right.
Stop it.
Right.
Stop your nonsense.
Yeah, it's a $1 billion plus industry.
Yeah.
College sports.
Yeah, where they don't have to pay.
And coaches are
their
making millions
employees.
of dollars salaries.
Yeah, they
and
only
there's
pay their
something that
coaches.
just doesn't right.
That's all they're paying is their coaches, which are paid for by the sponsors
Yeah.
of Coca-Cola, and Pepsi, and all that.
Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper.
You got to put them in there.
Oh, yeah. Official college sport, NCAA
Something like
football.
that. Yeah. All right. Let's digress
it.
and close this out. Thanks so much for tuning in. It was fun, Eric.
Yeah.
We're moving right along. We're hustling with season 4. So join us again in a couple of weeks when we bring you more average sports.
Oh, and of course, I want to give a shout out to our marketing department who's
Yes.
going to make sure that this
Yeah.
episode gets out to everybody.
That's right. Thanks,
Look out
marketing.
for that.
Woo.
Thanks for tuning in to Average Sports with Average Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, and we'll see y'all next time.